was just thinking, Alicia, when we got together last year in November, and remember all the amazing spirits that were around at the time, and we remember how quickly the weather was affected by the consciousness. And I felt that in the last 6 days, and just in moments like that, how much consciousness is an underlying cause to the state of this earth.
Exactly.
You know, we are weather. We are the weather.
Yes.
And you know, we take that wherever we go. And just with us being here now, I sense an effect on the local weather. You know, and that's just us. And you think of the world projected consciousness and what we all look at and what we think every day, and how important that is to find peace in our collective consciousness, as that's such a driving force for the state of this earth and the state of affairs.
Exactly.
You know, just amazed at how sensitive it is.
Yeah.
You know, to what we think.
Well, I mean, you know, you're right, because thought is the energy that has everything is only thought.
Yeah.
So how we think is how everything vibrates back.
It manifests.
There's that Crowder House song, You Always Take the Weather with you. And as you say, look, you know, it is true that we are emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
And we create emotion. And weather is emotion. And that links us to the very fundamentals of the earth and her spirit. And that if we wish to live our lives in ego and stamp on the earth, and that's what will happen. The earth will suffer in her biological form and her spiritual form. And that's why the connection here, whether through colour or through information or whatever, just sparks that little light in you to ask more questions. It forms that relationship with the earth again, and with the spirit of the planet and the universe that we're in, and we can collectively live together, you know, in harmony.
Well, you know, I mean, I came to Australia from New Zealand 12 years ago with breast cancer, and the logo in the colour codices was given to me, which was the heart within the heart, and the turquoise was this kind of thing, the going out through the media, going out through the collective, and it was pink energy, which is unconditional love, acceptance, receptivity. And I thought they were flames, but I've now realised they're little yods. The need to not hang on to, the need to be able to, you know, go through the change, and the wings, which is the flying. And here, you know, the red earth, we've got awakening, stimulation, grounding, but on water. You know, the whole movement of feeling. And you were talking about the caves, being able to go for shelter or go in an embracement of the earth, you know, not from the wide spaces, to be able to come in and the inner temple kind of thing.
That's right.
All of that, you know.
That's right. To achieve a state of balance or peace on earth, it comes down to the individual human being finding and losing the conflict within themselves, and that's where the conflict begins. Is the dual world that's in people, the separation, and that creates a separation between people, and then builds and manifests a conflict.
That's right.
Exactly.
You know, and it's what I love about some of your insights here, Alicia, is the discussion into what traditionally and typically that we've grown up around certain terms such as Lucifer or the devil.
Yes, yeah.
And as you say, you know, we've all gone through different schooling systems where, you know, we were seen as one as being the shadowy world and the harsh world, and something to always be getting away from.
Yes.
And what's so important about coming together of your energies is actually going towards it and understanding that we are in unison. And it's because of the shadow there is light. Without shadow there is no light.
Exactly.
And it's an integral part of our learning to let go of that fear and go to it with love.
Well, a lot of the colour, you see, it's got its gift and it's got its challenge. And this is when we sort of looking at that, when the souls reflected themselves back as to, you know, red, for example, can be awakening, but it can also be resistance. And it can be stimulation, but it can also be anger. So the more we are fluid and flexible and, you know, just go with the flow, and also I feel not to want answers for everything. The answer will come later,
right.
you know.
When I see your cards as well, Alicia, I think of tarot and the zodiac and rune stones and all the many different processes of inquiring. And ultimately, as you can imagine, there's anything in the physical realm, everything bears the imprint of the divine, so anything can be used to inquire upon, to receive information from, be it your hand, be it your face, be it the clouds, be it the sand, it all
speaks.
That's right, it all speaks, and it really comes down to the inquiry, you know, and the intention in that, and so long as you seek that, it'll come through one way or another, you know, but it does rely on the intent and the inquiry.
And the awareness and the sensitivity, and you know, this is really what's happened in the world is too much materialism, the cities, the retail therapy, and being too busy.
Complication.
You know, if you're so busy, you don't have any reflective time, and so, you know, the whole of the flesh takes over, doesn't it? Get up, eat, rush out the door, work, come home, beers, television, flop into bed, and
same old fear in itself, being busy, isn't it?
Well, there's no dreaming, there's no ability to reflect, and I think that's, you know, meditation is becoming something that people are becoming more aware of.
And you also lose connection too. You know, you lose just in the process of what's happening on the earth, where, you know, children are growing up not appreciating or understanding where either milk comes from, or butter, or food comes in a packet of plastic, and that becomes the norm for them. And without knowledge and relationship with the earth, where things come from, and, you know, things like in cities you have tips and things where people, you know, just pile rubbish. There's just out of sight, out of mind. And without that,
push it under.
And without this relationship, and without, as Tommy said, a seeking ability to ask questions and see what's going on, we will continually have people who are isolated and who just don't have that contact. And that contact is that light in your soul. You know, that you know, keeps our journey, you know, on fire.
Oh, that, you know, the understanding there's a lot of, you know, levels of teaching once we get into this, wherever we start, because some of them are exposed to the elementals and the whole sort of little energy fields that are supported by the consciousness of God-man, and how they're wounded and they're struggling in their own consciousness as it's abused, you know. Like, the more we go into the genetic engineering, wanting oranges without seeds, and you know, we just don't understand the injury to that.
That's right. It reinforces the separation, though, doesn't it? That we think we can.
And wanting it our way, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And the end result of that is suffering. If the more you attempt to separate and control, the end result is the opposite, and that's what you'll attract. And you know, you don't wish it upon anyone to go through suffering, but you also understand the role of suffering in the change, in how it prompts an awakening in itself.
Well, it's Malkut, it's calcination. It's how the you know, school of hard knocks, which being here is galactically anyway, a school for the soul, you know, to wake up, you know, to start to think, well, why is this happening? And until you ask that question, you don't even start to open the window to see, do you?
That's right. It makes me think of the little bindies on the ground here that the horse stood on over last.
Horrible little things.
That's right. And every day they keep you real. Every time you stand on one, you feel like you're alive, and at that moment on, you're a little bit more awake.